The vintage limiter is a module modelled loosely on the Fairchild 670. It's a feedback-based tube compressor stroke limiter with slightly different attack and release envelopes due to the way that feedback is detected. It provides for a warm, analogue sounding final stage of limiting. The vintage limiter is not a multiband processor, it affects the whole mix. There are 3 modes available, each with their own characteristics and sound. Choose the mode by clicking on the mode name in the lower part of the display. Analog has a fast attack and variable release times. It provides for tight bass response that emphasises low-end transients while still maintaining a smoothness associated with analog circuitry. Tube has variable attack and release times, providing smooth limiting. The characteristics of this depend on the incoming material. It also has good precision for preventing any clipping or peaks. Modern is a hybrid of old and new, blending the thickness of vintage limiters with modern limiting. It has variable release times and transient reproduction. As with most other limiters, thresholds set the point at which limiting will begin. This threshold also adds gain as it is reduced, increasing the overall loudness of the mix. The lower it is set, the more gain is added to maximise output. Ceiling sets the maximum output level. Note, this is not a brick wall type ceiling, so it's best to use levels that allow a little headroom for overs. Minus 0.3 dB for dithering and up to minus 0.8 dB when converting to MP3 or AAC formats. True peak limiting allows a limiter to take account of digital to analog conversion rather than just based on the digital samples. Turn it on by clicking on the icon. Although it increases CPU usage, it is recommended that this option is used if the mix is particularly hot. It will ensure that there is no distortion introduced at the digital to analog conversion process. The character slider adjusts the attack and release times. It uses different times depending on the mode selected, but allows a continuous range from fast to slow in each mode. We can change the display at the top for visual feedback on how the signal is being affected. The spectrum view just displays the output of the module across the spectrum range from low frequencies on the left to higher ones on the right. The gain reduction trace view shows the limiting taking place in real time as the audio is processed. Change between the two views using the icon towards the left. And that's the vintage limiter. Limiting with a little bit of analog coloration.